window slightly. Ilona inhaled deeply. The air was fresh and salty, and she felt her spirits lift. She had left Sydney behind. She had left Europe behind. Maybe it would be possible to forget the past and start a new life in Jingera, this sanctuary by the sea. Unclasping her handbag, she felt inside it for the reassuring shape of the Latvian English dictionary. While it hadn't been needed so far today, she did not know what linguistic challenges the evening would bring. The bus turned sharply off the main road and into Jingera Township, past a white-painted hotel and a corrugated iron hall, around a war memorial in the centre of an open space ringed by buildings, and at last shuddering to a halt in front of a few shops sheltered by wide awnings. On the fascia of the middle shop was the name she was looking for, Cadwallader's Quality Meats. They had arrived. Only after alighting from the bus did she notice the middle-aged man standing on the pavement outside Cadwallader's Quality Meats. Above his head, a large black and white cow painted on the shop front window seemed to hover like a cloud over his thinning dark hair. When he stepped forward to shake her hand, she noticed his slight limp and the newspaper-wrapped package he was holding. "Welcome to Jingera," he said. "George Cadwallader's the name." He clasped her long-fingered hand in his own, a butcher's hand. His fingers were scrubbed and clean. "Let me take your suitcases. It's just a short walk from here to the McIntyres. They asked me to show you how the stove works and the fuse box. And this must be your daughter?" he added, smiling at Zidra. "I hope you had a good trip. Bus not too bumpy for you?" "It was terrible, especially from Burford," said Zidra, who was rarely at a loss for words. "The bus went really fast round all those zigzag bends. Poor Mama was so frightened." Cadwallader laughed. Taking Zidra's hand, Ilona followed the butcher across the open area in front of the row of shops. Past the war memorial they went, an obelisk covered with a surprising number of names and elevated on a square plinth several steps high. Past the post office at the lower corner of the square, and into an uncurbed street leading down the hill to the lagoon. Zidra had now become quiet and was gripping Ilona's hand tightly. Weatherboard cottages lined each side of the road, some of them semi-concealed by hedges, others with no gardens at all, so that it was possible to see into the front room without even trying. "Please make it the house with a hedge," Ilona thought, "for privacy." The butcher stopped when he reached a gate several hundred yards down the hill. On each side of the gate was a dense, glossy-leafed hedge, and Ilona sighed with relief. The salty air was overlaid with a scent of something unknown, sweet but not sickly, that might have been from the small white flowers growing on the vine entangled in the hedge. "Such delectable flowers, Mr. Cadwallader." But from his grin, she knew that delectable was not quite the word she was looking for. Later she would look up its precise meaning. Perhaps she should have used that all-purpose word, nice. "Call me George," he said. "Don't know what those flowers are. They grow like weeds around here." After struggling for a moment with the gate, he ushered them through the opening. A brick path led up to the cottage, or what Ilona supposed was the cottage. It looked more like a support for the vines that tumbled over the veranda roof and fell like swags from the guttering. Brilliant orange, trumpet-like flowers growing in bunches. Zidra jumped onto the veranda and bounced up and down on the splintered grey boards that squeaked under her weight. George now had the front door unlocked. Inside, the hallway reeked of stale air and dust, and Ilona could hardly bear the smell after the loveliness of the garden. "No one's lived here since the end of last summer," George explained, as if the neglect were his fault. "We don't get too many holiday lets this time of the year, even though September's a mild month here." The initial reservations she had melted away when Ilona looked up and saw the wooden fretwork forming an arch halfway down the hall, and the carved